Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, today we're going to talk about selfishness. Yes, I've decided I'm not over it. I'm not over speaking about the ex, so we're going to speak about it, and I'm going to explain things that happened that were incorrect and how most people would label it a certain way, where it actually comes from, and teach you a bit, hopefully, about yourself and potentially about myself, but it'll give you an interesting perspective. So, I basically called out from the very start with my ex-girlfriend. I said, "You're very selfish." By selfish, I meant that she thinks about herself and not about the other person. I had serious concerns in my business, in my family's health, and my own health, and she would just not ask about it. She would, quote unquote, forget. And relatively selfish, and all attention needed to be on her. Now, there's a couple of things after we went through everything that I can actually put my finger on of why did this happen? Like, what was actually the occurrence? And firstly, in the first stages of life, or when you're younger, or really at any stage, if you have been done wrong, if you've had past things that happen, whether it be traumatic or not, you are basically stuck inside your head trying to convince yourself that you're okay or that you're safe, but your head is basically continuously focusing on self, because really the most important thing in the start of your journey of becoming this human little tadpole of like a sperm and an egg put together and they go out is you need to be yourself. You need to be like, you need to know that yourself is okay. So a lot of the time you're going to be thinking about yourself. Now, she didn't have a lot of friends at all, actually, and didn't have a lot of human connection. And her family situation also, they didn't have a lot of friends. So basically the way her family was and the way she was that she took on from her family basically ostracized or moved everybody else away from her. Now, a lot of that is, and if I observe the family, a lot of it is unfortunately just stuck in really unfortunate places of feeling unsafe, unwanted, unsecure, and them just staying in their head and trying to do a thing. So while you're in your head, you can't be focused on someone else because you're worried for your own safety. So the hard thing that I've been dealing with is like, I had no boundaries, or I was like, my boundary was like, I will love deeply. I don't even see that as no boundaries. I will love deeply no matter what you put down. I will give you everything, because that's the kind of human I am. I like being that. I like being that for humans. I love intensely, and I want it to be a whirlwind, and I want it to be unbelievable, and I want you to get everything you need. I want you to be heard, understood, felt. I want to breathe you. I want to feel you. I want to sort of dance in unison, all of that. But she was selfish. And no matter how much I could get it out of her head, I'm looking back at the relationship and I've been looking at it all the time. It's like, I am not doing good right now, or in a worse position than I have been in the last, decade, is because I allowed myself to be treated not nice. Let's just put it that way, not nice. If I'm aware of everything that's going on in your life, all your stresses, all your problems, and I'm always sensitive of your feelings, always touching base, I know what's important to you, I'm putting that down. If you're not putting down any of that, how did I continue that for 1.5 years? I didn't have any boundaries. I was too concerned with my morals and how I was, and not being treated well, because I thought that I'm above being impacted by other people. Boy, was I wrong. So I sit here and I wake up and I'm like, oh, she's such a selfish bitch. And then my brain goes, but it's not selfish. She's like really trying, but she's just stuck in her head and she's got a journey to go through, and you need to be compassionate of that. And I was like, yeah, but that doesn't stop me being trampled on. And that's the kind of like, it's unfortunately a lesson for me to learn. So I see people as gods. I see people as higher than even they see themselves. And I want to speak into what I see them as, an incredibly powerful, open, free, beautiful people. However, if I'm speaking that into my partner and she's not, if her behaviors are upsetting to me and hurt me, then those are her behaviors currently, and I cannot have that in my life. And I think a lot of the journey with the women thing is like, I can no longer do me being treated not good. And I know that sounds weird. That sounds like, as I'm saying that, like I see all content and stuff and people saying, I'm gonna know my worth. I'm gonna know my worth. And you know what the fuck thing is? I actually do need to know my worth. I have extremely crippling low self-esteem. I want validation. I want to make sure that I'm doing good in the world. Why I try to succeed so much and help other people is so they can be like, look, I can help you be the best version of yourself, so you'll like me, right, at some point, because you'll remember that like I was the person that was like, you can do it, like you can do anything. And I do get people there, like I get people to high achievement. So it's like, I find out what's interesting to you and then I support it, and I support it to a high level and give you all the answers and support to get you right to the top. But that sounds like a business. That sounds like what I'm passionate about. And years and years and years, I've been used for the same thing. Whether it be friends, whether it be other people, people use it. People use it. People use it and they don't give back. And I'm so upset, I'm so hurt, I'm so mad because I know or have an inkling to as much as I know of why her behaviors were the way they were. And yet, though those behaviors still made me feel like absolute dog shit. Can you just imagine living with a partner and let's say one of your family members or somebody close to you is having a really tough time health-wise, like chronic, worst time ever. They know of this. They see you trembling, they see you shaking, they see you crying. And at the time they're like, oh, are you okay? Cool. And then they don't mention it again. And then when you mention it 2 weeks later, they go, why didn't you haven't asked about that? And I was like, oh, I didn't know what to brought up, and like, I just didn't want to bother you. You looked cool and calm. And I said, it does bother me. Bring it up all the time. And they don't continue to do so over the course of the entire time. And instead, talk about their insignificant problems. Why I say insignificant is we've been talking about your problems for the last, 4 weeks, for 8 hours a day. I've been in your world, I've been in your space, I've been hearing you, I've been with you, I've been like, I'm there with you. You're not there even for 30 seconds for me once a day, once every 3 weeks. That is my experience. So if I didn't know better, smarter, how our brains work, how we as human individuals work, I would just be like, what a selfish bitch. But I know better, so I'm stuck in this place that there's a lesson for me to be learned. And step 2 is that even if I see the best in a person, their behavior can be very damaging to me. And because that behavior can be damaging to me, I would not like that behavior or energy anywhere near around me. To be in the inner circle, to be in as a part of the circle, you must have a level of 50-50 humanly and be able to be not selfish majority of the time and be for others. If you can't be for other people in the room, then you are using the other people. Now, it's fine to give 50-50, bit of give and take. You add some value, they add some value. You receive them, they receive you. But that's it. And, yeah. Like I'm stuck in a place where she said, yeah, I'll talk to you when I'm 2 months sober. And she's all over online, still intoxicated, now in another country, checking out again, checking out again, checking out again, checking out again. Wow, like, what she's doing is she's prolonging the experience of feeling the pain and ideally causing herself enough brain damage so when she does experience the pain, the whole memory will be hazy and she'll be like, oh, don't know, it just wasn't I don't know, it wasn't a vibe, because your brain just like is now mush. She's already in her consumption done irreversible brain damage to the serotonin and dopamine. Not unbeknownst to her, no, knowns to her. But there was just, a new group of guys and, freshly single 2 weeks in, somebody's gonna give you attention, right? So I'll do whatever you guys are doing. And because they were really trashy humans, then whatever. And they just want to use her for one thing anyway, so great. They want to use her for one thing anyway, and apparently the story is that she actually got too mangled that even when they wanted to, they were like, nah, you're actually, like, no one's even home. Like, this is borderline really wrong. And that just makes me feel sick that, like, that's what you're doing to yourself, but it makes me feel sick that by seeing the best in a person, I didn't see what was so. And because of that, here I am. But it's the best lesson in the world. It's the best lesson in the world. It feels like it's one of the best lessons that I've experienced in my life. It really made the penny drop, the thing land. I need to love myself, and I need to really, 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 really highly respect who enters my space, including intimate partner. And they don't need to get tested. They actually need to get tested. Like, as in, let's say I'm in a relationship. Let's say I'm getting into a relationship. Before I would get into it, I would spend a lot of time with that person and then see that my life doesn't get worse, but actually improves. That means that you existing even partially in my vibes, in my vibration, make my life better. Step one. Step two, if you're seriously into me and you're seriously into you, and I'm seriously into you, then if we begin a relationship, let's get some support. So we go immediately to couples therapy when everything's still positive and work through any kinks, even in our honeymoon period, of how we communicate together, how we build our relationship together. And the funny thing is like, some people will go, what? Couples counseling straight from the start? I was like, actually, look, my IQ is like 136, 142, and anybody that I'm really interested in is quite intelligent. And if you wouldn't look at that decision as being one of the smartest decisions of how to make a relationship work or give it the best success of working, or being able to have another professional that supports you while you guys are working out the dynamics of the relationship, then frankly, you're too stupid. Like, I sound so harsh, but you just are. You're too stupid to understand that that is super valuable. And if you valued yourself, you would want that as well. And if you don't value yourself, then you're like, nah, fuck it, let's wing it, whatever. Well, that's just what you are. Let's wing it, whatever. Cool, wing it, enjoy. But not in my space. You know what? I feel better. I've been feeling weird over the last couple of days with the relationship because basically she threatened me and she said, don't say anything bad about me, like even though they're going on, even though like, even though I have nearly overdosed, which she did, even though I did all these things to you, please don't tell anybody, like I just don't want anybody to know that I've been bad and I'm working on it and blah, blah. How are you working on it? I was like, get sober. What are you doing? No. So she's squashed a bit of my voice, and because of that voice, I've been feeling squished, and I'm like, oh, I don't even know what to say. Well, this is my real feelings, man. was my real feelings, and it's Jesus, man. Whoa. I am intensely upset and compassionate at the same time, and hurt, and I just want to be loved by her. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just want to be loved by her. I just want to be seen by her. And you know what her constant complaint was? You don't see me, you don't see me. It's entirely a projection because she lives inside her head and doesn't see anybody else. Wild. Wild. Just wild. It's just so upsetting. And then not threatens me, but says, no, be like, I want to save face in front of everybody. It's fine that I treated you like shit, I just don't want anybody else to know that I treated you like shit. Okay. Thanks, mate. You know, sounds pretty toxic to me. But that's alright, man. This pain, whoa, is going to this pain is so bad. It's consistent. We're now on like week 5. I did screw it up by seeing her and talking to her for a bit, you know, like, though we were in different places. Like, the intensity of that is just, whoa. I am... That's all right. I feel like my voice is coming back. Ladies and gents, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to be filming every day. Enjoy the road. I hope that was valuable to you. She's not selfish. She's just stuck in her head. He's not selfish. They're just stuck in her head. They are having a really tough time in their head, but that doesn't mean that they're available to take care of anybody else. So they need to work on themselves, and they need to stay the fuck away from people. Peace.